So hello everyone, thank you for coming to our first workshop and the third PAW workshop for this semester. And for today, we'll be talking about thesis statement formulation with me. My name is Sonia, and we have my friend here, another PAW. Do you want to say hi?
Hi everyone, my name is Masa.
Hello. So just as like a disclosure or like just to let you know, this workshop is being recorded and will probably be uploaded to the YouTube channel of PAW. So yeah, let's kick off our workshop then. Okay.
Okay, so in today's workshop, we'll cover everything and anything you need to know about writing a thesis statement. So starting from its definitions, the different types of thesis statements, common mistakes that students make when formulating a thesis statement, as well as some examples of thesis statements and essay outlines. So we as PAWs and of course student writers as well, we really understand that writing a thesis statement can be really confusing at times. So we hope that this workshop can help guide you and develop your confidence in creating one.
Okay, so on to the next one. We will be going into our first activity just to make ourselves wake up. It's not morning, but we still need to wake up since it's 12. And the first activity will be a Kahoot quiz, which Masa will be sharing in a bit. And it will basically cover like what is a thesis statement, what is important about a thesis statement, what makes a good thesis statement, and what makes a bad thesis statement. So that's what the first activity will be covering about. It's a Kahoot quiz. So we will have winners, obviously. So yeah, Masa, do you want to start sharing the screen for Kahoot?
Should be on the screen now.
Okay,
Can everyone join the Kahoot by entering the game pin or by scanning the QR code, please?
We're waiting. Please join. Okay, I will also try to check if it works. Okay. Can you guys please scan the QR?
Then you get bragging rights, guys.
Okay, you get some more people from it. Oh, hello. We have interesting.
So if you just entered the Zoom now, we're doing a Kahoot quiz just as a short icebreaker. So please join in it by entering the game pin or scanning the QR code.
Yes, we'll wait a little bit more, I think, because we don't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We currently have 10 people, so that's still like 8 of us that haven't joined. We'll wait for a bit.
Yes. We have 20 participants now.
Thank you. Okay. Do you want to wait a bit more or shall we start, Masa?
Yeah, okay, let's start.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, please.
Oh, okay, so people are still joining though. All right, let's just start now. Please join in.
Our thesis statement formulation. True or false? A thesis statement is one of the most important components of your essay.
What do you think, Samuel? Is it important?
It's important-ish, but I'm not sure if it's the most important. What about you? Oh,
a lot of people are correct. Yeah,
yes.
A thesis statement is one of the most important components of your essay. And here we have, oh wow, Fatan coming in first. So
wow. Okay, next.
So where should a thesis statement appear? The introduction, the last paragraph, anywhere in the essay, or the first sentence of every paragraph?
For me, I think as it is one of the most important, maybe it should appear in like every single paragraph.
Every single paragraph of a thesis statement.
Yeah, right? It's a good thing to have that, maybe.
Okay, that's not bad. So 6 of these correct. The thesis statement should appear in your introductory paragraph.
That is very true. At the last sentence of your introductory paragraph.
That's correct.
Thesis statement is that.
Okay, good job,
And
H.
wow, HS is speeding, Fatan. Should not? Should it, Mazda? Or should it not?
I mean, it's a tricky question. True or false? What do you guys think?
It genuinely makes me a bit confused.
Yes. So
Yes, that's
because
great.
it is a false statement, so a thesis statement should reflect the main idea of an essay.
Mhm. That's true.
Good job, Jerry.
How many more questions do we have? 3 more?
Yep, 3 more. This is the 4th one.
It should have a good thesis statement should have the ability to be unchallenged, to be valid, to be argued, or to be interesting. I'm not sure. Maybe to be interesting?
That's a good perspective.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Okay, this is a bit of a tricky question, I guess.
It is.
Yeah, so we'll definitely cover more on this. So what constitutes as a good thesis statement later on in our presentation.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow. Wow, Fatan claiming back the first place and Hache with the streak 4 in a row.
4 correct answers in a row. Okay.
Great.
A good thesis statement gives readers an idea about how the essay will be structured, a clear arguable stance, a clear causal relationship between factors, or all of the above.
So a clear cause and effect, or a clear like where you stand in this argument, or maybe not all of them, or all of them.
Let's see.
Yes.
That's true. Usually if there's an all of the above, I don't know for you, Sonia, but for me, if there's an all of the above,
I will choose
that's
that.
what I usually do.
Me too. Same for me.
Hey, good job. Fatan.
Last question then. Wow. A bad thesis statement has wordy wording. What is a wordy wording, Masa?
Wordy wording is something that is a bit convoluted, a bit complex.
Yeah, guys, it's actually correct that a bad thesis statement has wordy wording. So wordy wording. Masa, you want to explain about that a little bit?
Yeah, so this basically means that a good thesis statement should be clear, it should be simple, and it should directly convey the idea you're trying to come across in your essay.
I agree. So we'll go see the podium for Kahoot quiz.
Let's have a look.
On 3rd place. Wow, congratulations, Lan.
Woo! Wow,
And
Fatan.
Fatan.
Thanks.
Very close.
First one is.
Wow. Okay, congratulations.
Is that how you pronounce your name? Okay,
Yeah, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. So yeah,
Okay.
those are the winners. You get no prize aside from bragging rights to your friends that you know about thesis statement. So, okay, that is all for the first activity. Let's move on to hello. Let's move on to our activity. Wait a little. I think you're seeing my Moodle page. I'm sorry about that. Okay,
It's fine
can
now.
you see my the what is this called?
Yep.
Presentation?
I can see it. All good.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So let's move on into like a more the main part of the presentation of the workshop. So what is a thesis statement, Masa?
Right. So now that you all have done the quiz, I'm sure everyone knows a little bit more about thesis statements than they did before. So what exactly is a thesis statement? Essentially, it is a sentence or sentences which summarize the main idea of your paper and clearly expresses what it is you're going to say about your topic. Your statement identifies what topic will be discussed and the purpose of your paper. It also usually appears in your paper's introductory paragraph in the last sentence, while the rest of your paper will present information you have gathered, organized, and developed to support your point of view, explanation, or analysis of the topic. So,
Yes.
why exactly do we need a thesis statement? You could please enter the next slide. Okay, so this thesis statement identifies the central idea of your paper and covers exactly the topic you want to talk about. It also serves as a sneak peek by letting your readers know what to expect And it also serves as an organizational tool to help you better arrange and develop the content of your paper. Lastly, a thesis statement tells the reader how you will interpret the significance of the subject matter under the discussion. So these are one of the many reasons why a thesis statement is really important and why you should include one in every single one of your essays.
Okay. And then on to the next part, we'll be talking about the formula of a thesis statement. So yes, it's a thesis statement usually follows this basic formula that me as a student writer also always try to follow, which is A is B because C. So the A in here, it will be our topic, your topic that you will be talking about. And the B will be like a short description of your topic. Or if it's like an argumentative essay, it can also be your stand. Are you like on the pro side or on the con side? You can put this in the B part. And then because of C, the C part is the reasoning, or where you put all of your subtopics or the main themes that you will be talking about. So always try to follow this. For me, I always try to follow this formula of a thesis statement. A is B because of C. And just to give it like a clearer image, we can see an example here on the next slide. It's fast food is extremely unhealthy and should be banned because it's many processed ingredients, excessive amount of calories, and preparation methods. So in here, as you can see with like the colors, the A in here, the topic is the fast food. So fast food is like the main thing that the student writer or the writer here will be talking about. And the B part, it will be describing about the topic. So in here, the writer takes the stance that fast food is unhealthy and it should be banned. So that's the B part of the thesis statement here. And why they think it should be banned and why they think it's unhealthy, it's written in the yellow colored words. It's because of its many processed ingredients, excessive amount of calories, and preparation methods that are not fresh, basically. So this is how a thesis statement usually is. As you can see here, like Masa said before, it's very clear, it's to the point, and you can tell from this thesis statement that the author will be talking about many processed ingredients, excessive amount of calories, and preparation methods, and that they are against fast food. And the next one.
Okay, so let's take a look at the different types of thesis statement. And the first one that we have here is analytical. So what is the purpose of an analytical essay? Well, you usually break down an issue or an idea into its component parts, evaluate the issue or idea, and present this breakdown and evaluation to the audience. So the purpose of an analytical thesis statement is to examine an issue objectively by stating the object of analysis and stating how it will be analyzed. So for example, let's take a look at this example provided. Korean food has become more popular over the last few years because its fresh ingredients and quick preparation provides an excellent alternative to processed fast foods. So in this example, we can see that the object of analysis is Korean food, right? And how it will be analyzed, meaning what exactly are your main ideas in your essay, are fresh ingredients, quick preparation, and Korean food being an excellent alternative to processed fast foods. So this also, if you can see, it also quickly follows the A is B because of C formula. And this will be the same for almost every thesis statement you come across.
Okay. And then the second type of thesis statement that we usually come across is the expository thesis statement. So what this essay is, what an expository essay is, it will be about, the point is to explain a topic and educate the reader regarding this topic, basically. And what you do in that thesis statement, in that kind of thesis statement, is that you have to list the subtopics that will be developed, that you will be explaining about, basically. So, and of course, you have to follow not you have to, but you are recommended to follow the A is B because C. And as you can see in the example here, it's yoga is a form of spiritual practice, which can equally benefit the mind and body as well as the spirit. So as you can see here, the paper will be talking about the mind, the body, and the spirit. and how yoga is beneficial to all three of that. And so the paragraph will be broken down like that. And as you can see here, if you compare it to the formula that we just talked about a few minutes ago, yoga is the A part. So yoga as a form of spiritual practice is the B part, spiritual practice, which can actually benefit the mind, body, as well as the spirit. That's the C part, which is how you will break this topic down and how you will try to explain it. What aspect of the topic that you are trying to explain. So that's how it usually works for an expository or when you are trying to explain something in your essay. And we have the last type of thesis statement here. Masa, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So the next type we'll talk about is the argumentative thesis statement. And I'm sure all of you here, if not most of you, are from ARC 1 and ARC 2. And if I'm not mistaken, your final paper will be an argumentative essay, right? So I think this is a really important part of writing an argumentative essay and one that you should definitely take note of. So what exactly is the purpose of an argumentative essay? Well, usually you seek to convince the reader that your position, your assertion, or your claim is true. And you do this by telling your reader what your argument is and what supporting evidence or reasons you will present. So in an argumentative thesis statement, you need two things. You need to clearly state your stance or claim, and you need to state how your paper will support this claim. So for example, if we look at the sentence here, Korean food needs to be recognized alongside other world cuisines because of its extensive history, its interesting use of ingredients, and its unique distinction from other Asian cuisines. So please feel free to write in the chat or please feel free to unmute yourself. What do you think is the stance or the claim of this thesis statement?
What do you think? Do you think they think Korean food is not all that good and they don't deserve to be recognized? Or are they they love Korean food and they want it to be recognized? What do you think is the author's stance here? What do you think they are trying to do with their essay? Feel free to write it down in the chat, unmute yourself, or give a reaction. Anything.
Yep.
Yeah. The author wants the world to recognize Korean food. Yeah, among others cuisines.
Yes,
Exactly, that's correct. Thank you for unmuting yourself. And exactly as please correct me if I'm wrong, your name Hache just said.
So it's hash.
Hash?
Hash.
Okay, Hash. All right, so sorry about that, Hash. So as Hash just said, Korean food needs to be recognized alongside other world cuisines, and that is the stance or claim of this thesis statement. And then your main themes or your main ideas are its extensive history, its interesting use of ingredients, and its unique distinction from other Asian cuisines. So when you're writing a outline, or when you're writing your actual thesis, your thesis statement will follow this exact outline. So this exact order. So you talk about the history first, and then you talk about the ingredients, and then you talk about what makes it so different from other Asian cuisines. And we'll also take a look at more detailed outlines later on in the presentation.
Okay, so thank you for that, Masa. Let me go into the next one. The next one is the 5 common thesis statement mistakes that us as student writers make. So usually for when we are writing a thesis statement, we have this long list, like we already basically have like our big picture framework of what our essay is going to be, and we have to make that into one sentence, which can be a little tricky for some reasons and for some people also, because you are literally bringing up like five sentences into one. You're doing that. So what are the common mistakes that we usually find? The first one, like Masa mentioned, is that usually people don't really follow the essay structure. So for example, if we want to if we wanted to talk about Korean food and our main themes are the ingredients, history, and also the distinction. If you want to make sure that however you write it in your thesis statement is the same that you write it in your paper. Or another easier example to understand is that maybe you want to talk about the production of fashion goods. And the production have like the certain steps that they take, like, right? So like um manufacturing and then transport and then distributing and then sales. That is like the logical step. However, in your paper, you will not be taking it, you were not talking about it in that exact order. So, which one do you think you have to follow in this case? Do you follow the order that you are going to write it in your essay, or are you going to follow the order of production of fashion goods? So, which one do you think you will do, Masa, if you were a student writing about this?
I think I'll definitely follow the order that I'll be writing about in my essay. So for example, if I talk about fashion production, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so I'll definitely follow the order of how I would write it as my main themes in my essay.
Exactly. Thank you for that, Masa. You will definitely do that in your thesis statement. So keep in mind that even though it doesn't make sense that you're talking about it like this, but this is how you are going to talk about it in your paper, even though it doesn't follow the exact order of the production itself. And then the next one is that sometimes when you write a thesis statement, you write it too complicated. So what we mean by this is that sometimes some student doesn't really how do I say it? They don't really write a clear and direct thesis statement, but they try to make their language flowery or poetic, which can sometimes actually makes it a little bit more confusing to understand what this thesis is going to be about. And this also links to the next mistake, which is it doesn't follow the chosen rhetorical strategy. So we've talked about the expository, analytical, and argumentative, right? So that's what we are talking about. For example, if you choose the rhetorical strategy, that is argumentative essay, you have to make your thesis statement argumentative. You have to clearly state your stance in this argument in your thesis statement. So that's what you have to do when you are making a thesis statement. Same thing if you are doing like a cause and effect essay, make sure that you clearly state that A causes B like this, C, something like that. Make sure that you do that for all of your essay with any chosen rhetorical strategy. And the next one, it's actually like the opposite of the too complicated, is that it is too basic or too simple. What we mean by this is that we will show examples later on as well, but sometimes these statements can literally be just like 5 words, which is very short and very simple, and it doesn't really serve the purpose of being a sneak peek into the essay, because you're just stating one thing, but you don't really describe how you will try to explain that. And then the last one, it's like an accumulation of all of this, is that it will have the lack of connection to the rest of the essay. So if you don't really follow the chosen rhetorical strategy, if you don't really follow the essay structure, the thesis statement itself won't really make sense in your paper. It will be a little bit surprising maybe, or a little bit, how do I say it? It basically doesn't connect to the rest of your essay because you don't really use it as a sneak peek of your essay. And then the next part, we will be looking at examples and practice. So what we will do here is we will give you an outline, and we will also explain those outline. And you can unmute yourself, or you can type it in the chat of what those thesis statements would look like. So the first one will go with Masa.
Okay, so the first outline we have here is an analytical essay. And I think our topic for this essay is actually shorter school year. So the first theme is a shorter school year would benefit students and teachers by giving them more time off. Why? Because students and teachers will be able to spend more time with their families, and they will be more refreshed and rejuvenated and be able to participate more effectively. The second theme is a shorter school year would save school districts millions of dollars per year. So districts could save money on energy costs by keeping schools closed for longer. And a shorter school year would also mean lower supply and transportation costs because it's closed and you don't need to turn these on. And the last theme is shortening the school year would also improve academic results. So the reasoning behind this is that well-rested and happy students would help improve test scores, and it would also provide more time for students to explore other hobbies and other extracurricular activities. So
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah. So knowing that the topic at hand is a shorter school year and our three themes are benefit students and teachers by giving them more time off, saving money for school districts, and improving academic results, what do you think the thesis statement for this sort of outline would look like?
Yes.
Feel free to type in the chat box. We'll give you maybe 30 seconds or a minute to sort of write down what you're thinking. And please do remember that A is B because of C formula. So what is A, what is B, and what is C? And this will help make it more easier for you to quickly think up of a thesis statement.
Mhm. And also a tip, make sure that you are being clear about the themes only and not the supporting ideas. The supporting the themes.
Only the themes, not the sub
Only
themes.
themes. So, cannot see chat.
It's okay. I've got an eye on it.
Thank you. Okay, so Masa, for you, what do you think is going to be like the A in this scenario?
Well, I think it would be a shorter school year would be the A, and then maybe another way of forming it is that student being someone just came in. The student being against a longer school year. So either one of those, the A being shorter school year or arguing against how a longer school year is bad.
Makes sense, makes sense. Yes. So anyone sending into the chat or unmute yourself if you have like an idea of what the B or C is, the reasoning of how they're going to support their statement here. Shorter school year.
Anyone? It's okay. You don't have to be scared.
Doesn't have to be
You're-
perfect.
Yep, exactly. We're all here to learn. We're all here to improve our thesis statement formulating skills. Okay, we'll just give it 10 more seconds. Oh, okay. So we have an answer from Fatan. So he says that the school year is too long and needs to be shortened to benefit students and teachers, save districts money, and improve test scores and academic results.
Mm-hmm.
This is almost perfect, actually, or I think it's almost exactly the same as the actual thesis statement. If Sonia, you could please press the next slide. Yep, exactly. So thank you, Fatan. So in our thesis statement, we have the A, which is that school year is too long. We have the B, which is how the school year should be shortened, and we have the C, which is that it benefits students and teachers, it saves the district's money, and it will improve test scores and academic results. So here you can see the direct correlation between your thesis statement and the outline of your essay. So as Sonia also mentioned in her explanation of the common mistakes that students make, sometimes it's too complicated or too basic. This is an example of a thesis statement that is neither. It is simple enough that it's not too complex or flowery, but it's also not too simple that a reader who reads it wouldn't know what the overall structure or what your essay will be talking about. And it also follows the specific order. So we have giving time off. We have benefits to students and teachers. We have saving money, and we also have the academic benefits as well. So so the thesis statement follows the exact outline of your essay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, on to the next sample outline, which will be about expository essay. This one, the outline is basically almost the same like the one we talked about. So the first theme that the author will be talking about is how yoga is beneficial for the mind. So how is yoga beneficial for the mind? because it has been proved to help people relax after a stressful day, and it also helps people focus better. So that's definitely good for you if you are always stressed at your work or at school. Doing yoga is good for yourself. And the next one, it's not only beneficial for the mind, but it is also beneficial for the body. As all of us know, yoga is probably one of the, not the best, not the, a good exercise to help yourself stay flexible and also to help yourself strengthen your core. So yoga is definitely beneficial in the sense because if we are not moving a lot, if we are unflexible, our joints will probably hurt when we're moving around too much. So yoga is definitely the answer if you want to stay flexible and if you want to keep moving. And theme 3 is yoga is also beneficial for the spirit. So yoga actually increases spiritual health and is associated with lower level of anxiety. So it definitely helps decreases your anxiety as you can relax also, which basically ties back to the first theme. And also doing yoga helps you to have a more positive outlook on life because you will have less anxiety and you will find a way to relax for yourself. You find a way to relax, basically, to help yourself feel more relaxed and at home. And it's good basically for your spirit. So looking at this, yoga is beneficial for the mind, yoga is beneficial for the body, and yoga is beneficial for the spirit. How do you think the thesis statement would look like? What is the A, what is the B, and what is the C in here when you want to explain these 3 components of doing yoga? So we'll give you a few minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. How long do you want it to be?
Okay. I'm sure lots of you have basically got the thesis statement figured out already. You can just type it in the chat box, please.
This one is rather a simple one. I'm starting a timer of 1
Okay.
minute. So yeah. So this one is pretty simple as it's way shorter for the themes and they are worded the exact same way for all 3 themes. So any ideas? Masa, do you think so about yoga? Like, do you think that it's beneficial for your mind, body, and spirit?
I mean, I've personally only tried yoga once or twice, but I think it was definitely helpful in sort of clearing my mind, letting me sort of escape from my problems because it's difficult. Like it's not as easy as the movies or TV shows have made it out to be, right?
That is very true. Yeah, for me, like you, I've only tried yoga a few times, but it definitely is beneficial for the body. For the people that I know does yoga routinely, it helps them stay flexible, and their progress actually kind of awes me because they can do like the handstand and all those sort of things with yoga, right? So I kind of agree with this. So shall we try to reveal the thesis statement? Does anyone have a guess of how this statement will be?
Please write it in the chat box.
Okay, we'll reveal it then.
Okay.
Thesis. So the thesis statement for this, it's pretty simple. It's just that yoga is a form of spiritual practice which can equally benefit the mind and the body as well as the spirit. So in here, as you can see, the themes are basically talking about how yoga is beneficial, and you can definitely see this in your thesis statement, as the author also directly said that it's equally benefits the 3 things that they have. And another thing that you have to point out here, that we can point out here, is that the first theme is that yoga is beneficial for the mind. And as you can see here in the sentence, the mind is the first thing that they pointed out. And the second one is the body. And also here, the second one is the body. And the last one is the spirit. And the last one here is also the spirit, as you can guess. So that is how we always want our thesis statement to look like. We want it to always follow the organization of our paper. another thing that you can see here also is that this thesis statement for some people it can like look too simple, but for me I think this is good as it gets. It's perfect of some sorts, because you really pointed out the three themes that you're going to talk about without doing too much, without explaining how you are supporting those themes. And that is completely fine. You don't have to show people how you are going to show, like how you are going to support your three themes in your thesis statement, but they just want to know what your three themes are, basically. So shall we go on to the last example?
Yeah, and I just quickly like to address, I think a few students also gave examples in the chat. And yeah, so the examples that they provided of thesis statements are actually really close to what we have here. So really good job, guys. Yeah, so everyone mentioned the mind aspect, how it strengthens scores, how it's reasons why it's beneficial. So very good job. And yeah, we can move on to the next outline. And that was just the last one, right?
Okay, yes, this is the last one, argumentative.
Okay, so our last outline is for an argumentative essay. And here we have our first theme, which is that Korean food needs to be recognized as it has extensive history. Why? Because it was developed with many influence from Chinese foods, and it was believed to be a source of physical and mental well-being. Our second theme is that Korean food needs to be recognized as it uses many interesting ingredients. So, for example, we have ingredients like gochujang, and we also have unique combinations such as sundaeguk, which is pork blood sausage soup. And lastly, our third theme is that Korean food needs to be recognized as its distinct taste from other Asian culture. So, for example, all of these different ingredients serve to make Korean food very distinct and very different from other Asian cuisine. One of them being kimchi, which is fermented cabbage. And I'm sure you've all tried kimchi at some point in your life. And you would agree with me in saying that it has a very distinct taste that perhaps you won't find in other Asian dishes. So, remembering that this is an argumentative essay, which means that you have to state your stance or your claim, and you have to argue for and against, and that your three themes are Korean food's extensive history, Korean food's interesting ingredients, and their distinct takes from other Asian cultures. What do you think a thesis statement would look like? Okay. We'll give you 2 minutes because this is an argumentative essay and probably it's a bit longer than the others. So we'll give you 2 minutes and we'll also keep quiet for a bit just to let you think.
Yes. Nice.
Okay, we have 1 minute left. If you finish writing your thesis statements, please put it down in the chat box. Okay, so our time is up. Okay, so I don't think we have any answers in the chat box. I understand this is a bit difficult because it's an argumentative essay, but that's all right. So Sonia, if you could please click the next slide. Okay, so the thesis statement here is Korean food needs to be recognized alongside other world cuisines because of its extensive history, its interesting use of ingredients, and its unique distinctions from other Asian cuisines. So in this thesis statement, you can see that it follows the A is B because of C formula. So the A is how is Korean food, and the B is how it needs to be recognized alongside other world cuisines. And then for C, we have our three topics or themes. So we have its extensive history, its interesting use of ingredients, and its unique distinction from other Asian cuisines. So you can see here that the thesis statement really doesn't not need to be that difficult because you can essentially copy and paste aspects of your themes or your main ideas and place it directly in the thesis statement. Furthermore, we can see here, as what Sonia said before as well, that it follows the structure and the order of how you mention it in your outline, and that it's also not too simple or too convoluted. So this is a sample of a thesis statement. Of course, there are other ways you can write it, but this is perhaps like one basic and actually quite good example as well. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself or write in the comments. But if not, then we can move on to the next part of our workshop.
So next part. Sorry, I clicked that a bit quickly. So next part of our workshop, it's coming to an end in a bit. We are going to rate these thesis statements. So how we are going to rate it is that we have three things. It's good, it needs to be, whether it's good, it can be improved, or it's bad. So we have those three things. If you think the thesis statement is good, you can give a thumbs up as a reaction. If you think it needs improvement, you can give like the, I think there's like a clapping reaction,
There's a
right?
clapping
You can give
reaction.
that. You can give that if you think it needs improvement. And if you think it's bad, you can give the shocking face, like the shocked face reaction. So shall we try to do it one by one per number?
Yeah, okay.
So one more time, just to review. Thumbs up for good, clapping for needs improvement, and shocked face for bad, basically. So the first one, number one of the example thesis statement. The technological changes of the last 100 years have been amazing. So do you guys think this is a good, bad, or need improvement example of a thesis statement? And if so, maybe you want to explain why? I see a shocked face.
I see two shocked faces.
Yes, two shocked faces. And what about the rest? Do you think it's good? What about you, Masa?
Well, I think that it's not a very good it's not a very good thesis statement for many reasons. One of them being that it's not very academic, is it? Because we have the word amazing in it, and in academic writing, and so in academic thesis statements as well, you don't want to use words like amazing or wonderful or brilliant because you can't exactly quantify that.
That's true. You don't really know what is amazing, how you define amazing. So that is very true. The first one is a bad example of a thesis statement. Other than that, it also doesn't show how the essay is going to be structured, like what they're going to talk about. So definitely not a good example. What about the second example? Drunk driving is a serious problem with long-lasting consequences because it endangers people's lives. Do you think it needs improvement? Good? Bad? I see 2, 3 clapping hands. It's so weird how clapping is improvement. Sorry, I know I made that.
If you chose needs improvement or clapping, please also type in the chat box how it can be improved. You don't need to put in the full thesis statement, but just like write down
Points out what is wrong with this.
what's wrong with it and how can it be improved. How can you make it better?
Exactly. Try to think about the common mistakes that we discussed also.
What do you think, Sonia? How do you think this can be improved? This thesis statement.
I personally think it can be improved in the sense that it doesn't really show those things that they're going to talk about. They just say that it endangers people's life, but they don't really say how it's going to endanger people's life, in what way it can endanger people's life. So I think it can be improved in that part only. The first few words, the first sentence, like the first words of the sentence were really good. Just that last part. What about you, Masa?
Yeah, I agree with you. So I think it follows the A and B part of the thesis statement formula. So it has the A aspect and the B aspect, but it doesn't really list out the subtopics or the main themes of the paper. So it doesn't talk about why it is a serious problem, why how exactly it endangers people's lives. So I don't think it's a bad thesis statement, but it definitely needs improvement.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And that is true for all of you who answered with clapping hands. Very true. And the next one, it's the third one. An offender's driver's license should be automatically suspended after a drunk driving conviction in order to show that it is a serious offense. It sounds like a statement to me. But do you think it's good, bad, needs improvement? Oh, I see different results. I see a shocked face. I see clapping hands. I see a no for some reason. So I see those three things. What do you think, Masa?
I think that, let's see, should be automatically suspended after a drunk driving conviction or to show that it is actually this is a case where it is, well, I think it's a good thesis statement because even though it doesn't exactly have three main themes, but it also follows A is B because C. So for example, here we have the A, which is that an offender's driver's license. So that's the A. And then we have the B, which is should be automatically suspended after a drunk driving conviction, right? So that's the B. And then we have the C, which is in order to show that this is a serious offense. So while I don't think it's a good thesis statement, I feel like it needs improvement in terms of adding two more themes or two more reasons to that last part of the sentence.
I agree. I agree with Masa that it is going to be a good thesis statement if they add a little bit more to that last part. Because to me right now, it just sounds like a statement. Like it's like an obvious statement that almost everyone knows that it's a serious offense to drunk driving. Drunk driving is a serious offense. So it could really be, it could be really good if you can add something more at the end. So yeah, good job for that. The fourth one, we've talked about this, so we all know this is an example of a good one. It's fast food is extremely unhealthy and should be banned because of its many processed ingredients, excessive amount of calories, and preparation methods. So that in here, you can find the three things: processed calories, excessive amounts, and preparation methods, processed ingredients, sorry. So you can find those three things. And let's do the last one, number 5, then. That's true. It's a good one. Thank you for answering that. And the last one, it's successful corporate managers have to communicate as directly as possible to the people they manage in order to establish a cohesive team and respect and increase opportunities for promotions. Yes, love that too. Me too. I feel the same way. I love this. What about you, Masa?
I have to agree with Hash. This is a great thesis statement, I think, because it has everything we talked about. It has an A, a B, a C. It's not too convoluted, it's not too basic, it's just right there in the middle.
Yes, yes, I agree with Masa. It's just right there in the middle. So that is an example of a good thesis statement. So make sure that you always make it as direct as this. As you can see, there are no flowery languages or like making it very poetic. So it's good. It's a good thing to have it always like this. And I think we have the last part. Okay, Masa, you want to go?
Yeah, so just to sort of wrap up our workshop today, it's almost an hour, so it's been quite a long time since we first explained to you what a thesis statement thesis statement is. And we've gone all the way from the definition to sort of looking at outlines and the overall structure, the formula. So we want to wrap things up by giving you three tips in writing a thesis statement. So the first one is good things come in three. This sort of means limiting yourself to only 3 themes in your thesis statement. And while this is not always true, it usually is the case for undergraduate essays or undergraduate research papers because you really don't need anything more than 3 themes, right? So make sure to only limit yourself to those to that number. And again, like this is subject to your professor's demands and your professor's requirements. The second tip is to always follow the structure of the essay. So as we talked about multiple times before, it's really important for you to make sure that the order that you mention your themes or your subtopics, which is the C aspect of the formula in your thesis statement, follows the order in your outline or in your actual essay. This ensures that it serves as an accurate sneak peek and it serves as an accurate sort of organizational tool for your readers. And the last tip, and I think is the most important tip of all, is to be as direct as possible. Students often have a really hard time sort of figuring out the wording of their thesis statement because it is quite an important aspect, an important component of our paper. So remember to be as direct as possible. Don't try to use sort of, I guess, subtopics or like sub questions. So a lot of students have like semicolons in there, so many commas, and this can actually create grammatical mistakes, right? Because you have comma splices and run-on sentences. So try to be as direct as possible, make it simple, and make it clear to the readers what you're going to discuss in your essay.
That's true. And just to add to that is that remember that using big words doesn't automatically makes an essay better. What we usually try to achieve when writing an essay or any kind of paper is that we are trying to make the readers understand what we're talking about easily. So make sure that is always your main goal, is to be as direct as possible with what you are trying to explain or what you're trying to do with your assignment, with your paper. So yeah, I think that wraps up the workshop. Yay. So thank you everyone for coming in here. That was the third workshop of PAW for this semester. And for all of you, please do fill in the attendance form that we have here in the QR code, or I can also send the link to the Zoom chat, but I will need to exit this thing for me in order to do that. So please scan this QR code. And yes, thank you a lot then for your participation and for coming to this workshop. I hope whatever we talk about in here, everything about thesis statement that we talk in here will be useful for your academic writing journey. And I hope as the finals are coming, it will be also useful for your final papers, both for the ARC1, ARC2 classes, and also for the future classes. And yes, I see that Hash raised your hand. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to clear something. First of all, thanks so much for your presentation. It was like 5 minutes. I didn't see the time going. Yeah, very well done. And also, like, I want you to clear that before writing a set of statements, we need to know our position, like to make research know our argument, and then we're gonna search the gonna write the thesis statement, right? Like, we cannot write that before having our argument.
Yeah, so in order to write a thesis statement, you need to, as you said, we need to have your argument planned out. So you need to know whether you're for something or you're against something. You need to know what your three main ideas are. And you basically need to figure out I feel like for me it's really helpful to sort of write your outline first, the outline of your essay, and then change your thesis statement to suit your outline, because usually students go through lots of revisions because they submit it to their professor and they go through multiple drafts, right? So it's really helpful to remember that your thesis statement is subject to change, and that change will usually follow whatever you have in your outline or whatever you have in the final draft of your paper. Sonia, do you have anything to add?
Yes, it's basically the same thing, but one thing that really stuck with me that one of my teachers said is that don't be afraid to change your thesis statement, because a change in your thesis statement, it usually means a good thing rather than like being stuck from the first thesis statement that you kind of come up with. So always try to change your thesis statement. Always see, is the flow better if you switch these two themes, or is the flow better if you kind of like change it into something else? Always try to change it like that, and don't be afraid to change your thesis statement. So you don't have to have it set in stone like before you write everything else. It's the other way around. Thesis statements, the perfect thesis statements usually comes last. Yeah, just that.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
Hope that helped. And if anyone else has a question, please do feel free to unmute yourself, type your question in the chat box. And yeah, don't forget to fill in the attendance form, because I think that's how most of you will get credit.
Credits, yeah, the mark.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay, so we'll just keep this up for one more minute.
I've also sent the link to the Zoom chat. So if the QR code doesn't work, feel free to access it from there.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think
Yes.
almost everyone has access to QR code in the attendance form. So thank you again, everyone, for coming. We hope this helped. We hope this will, especially as your final drafts are coming up. It's mid-November now, so I know that those argumentative essays final drafts are due very quickly. So please be more confident in writing your thesis statement. And if you do need help, remember that you can always book a PAW session with us and with our other PAW team. We'd love to help you figure out your thesis statements and, of course, give you more feedback in terms of your other academic writing needs.
That's true. So thank you a lot, everyone. I think we've reached the 1 hour mark. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you for coming, and we hope you have a good day and a good week ahead of you then. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye. Let me stop sharing my screen.